Hello and welcome to Scott Bryant's Fitness Systems. Thank you for clicking on the video. Master Chek practitioner, level 5, personal trainer, sports massage therapist, shaman practitioner, nutrition and lifestyle coach, and what else have I done? Naturopath. So that's my ego stuff out of the way. So this video is all about recognizing your ego, controlling your ego, and trying to stay out of trouble with your ego. And my ego does get me into trouble a lot. And I try and quieten it as much as I can, but the bear in me, it rolls up a little bit, you know what I mean? Especially if I think, if somebody's being done or somebody's getting a bad turn done against them, then I'm really, really on fire. I don't like that. Like if I see a guy hitting a woman for whatever reason, I will get involved because I grew up with that as a child, as a kid, you know what I mean? So my ego rearing up. I was in the gym once and before I was getting into the Chek studying and stuff, and I'd had a real phenomenal workout, but I still had a bit left. So I thought, right, I'm going to smash the bag up, the punch bag. And I go to the punch bag and I start hitting it, and then I slip it to one side and I rip all my tricep. And that was painful for about 8 to 12 weeks. I didn't know what I know now, how to, get it to recover much quicker. But I had a brilliant girlfriend. She was massaging it. She was doing acupuncture on it. She was going, put this cream on it. So she was really, really amazing at helping me get it to recover. So that was one ego lesson in the gym. The next ego lesson in the gym was, I'm going to do 320s in between my legs and do some dips. Now, I now know that it should never go lower than parallel. And when I done lower than parallel, because I wanted to hit the lower pec more and just be, the don in the gym because of my ego, I ripped my pec major. And that was sore for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I had to work around it. So these two injuries really taught me how to work around an injury and still keep training, still keep pushing myself to the max in the gym. Because I absolutely love the gym, even though I've come out of the gym for a little while at the moment. I'm training at home. Another time ego gets in the way is when I decided to buy a C.H.E.K. So I love my C.H.E.K. I set myself lots of goals every day, every week, every year, and I want to try and achieve them goals. And I normally always do, like becoming a level 5 master Paul Chek practitioner was really hard work, because I've got dyslexia as well. But I'm like a dog with a bone. I won't let go. So when it comes to the watch, the ego come in because it's a beautiful watch. It's a lower grade than a Rolex, but I nearly got mugged on the street. So I done self-defense to not get mugged on the street. Then I got the C.H.E.K because when I meet new clients for the first time, I want them to see that I'm one of them type thing. Does that make sense? So they see the C.H.E.K, they see I'm in great shape, and they go, oh, wow, he's got nice taste and he's in good shape, and then I'll talk to them for an hour and share, case histories and how I'm going to help them, blah, blah, blah. So how my ego got me into trouble with the watch was, one, I nearly got mugged, and two, it broke down. And to get it fixed is 250 quid for a £1,000 watch. Does that make sense? So really, I should have got a Casio watch like my mate, Robin, and it only costs 25 quid to get fixed. So it's the ego going, you need to do it. But it was something I set up as a challenge for myself to do. What other ones can I name? Oh yeah, when I was a chef, the ego was there because I was a pot wash boy, before I become a qualified chef. Because my head chef, Ian Perkins, absolutely brilliant guy, he sent me to college and got me helped me to get my qualification. And obviously with dyslexia, with cooking, it's all about putting, weighing and tasting and getting the right time right. And all that seemed to come naturally for me, so I did pass. But ego, when I was in the chefing industry, I wanted to be the best pot wash boy. I wanted to do the most of hours. I wanted to read the most cooking books and stuff like that. So ego was good in that way. But another time, I remember when I was in my 20s and I was walking across Pitsea Park in Basildon, and I was a little bit drunk, a lot of Guinness, and there was a load of guys playing drum and bass, and I went, that music's a load of shit. And one of the guys said, what did you say? I said, you fucking heard. And then he went, do you want to fight? I went, before I said yes, he roundhouse kicked me, you know what I mean? And I fell down to the floor. And I thought, fuck you, keep your mouth shut, Scott, next time, So I used to go on a regular basis over the park just to get into a punch-up, which was all ego stuff again. But obviously, being a big guy, 16 stone, 18-inch arms, ego again. I have learned to quiet my ego and not let it get me into trouble. So another instance, I was on the tube and a guy, it was really packed, peak rush hour, and I was near the door, and as he come on, he punched me in the solar plexus, but I took it. But when I was on the train, I was thinking about all the ways I was going to kill him and mess him up, But in hindsight, I was thinking, well, I can't do that because there's the train is full of people. It's unprofessional of me. There's cameras everywhere. And what if I killed the guy? Being like much stronger than this guy. But this guy was doing it to move people out of the way. But a wrong way of doing it. Do you know what I mean? So I was fuming. He was looking at me. I was looking at him. So lucky enough, I didn't act on the way that I think. Does that make sense? So I was talking to a real close friend of mine, and he's a bit the same as me, and he used to be my head doorman. And you think you're getting away with what you're saying to him, but he's thinking all these other things. And that made me realise that if I get into confrontation with people, I humble myself straight away. I go, look, I don't want any trouble. No, I don't want any trouble. I don't want to get into any grief. Because I know it's too easy to kill somebody. It's too easy to kill somebody. And in most countries around the world, if you do that, it's prison. And there's massive egos in prison and people wanting to take your title and all that type of stuff. And I never want to go there ever in my life. So it's really important to quieten your ego. Like there's been people in my life where I thought that person really hates me. They're really, really nasty, or they're not communicating in the way that I communicate. And I've got it totally wrong. And they've been really lovely, lovely people. Or I've listened to, gossip. Then made an opinion from the gossip and then realised I was totally wrong again. Do you know what I mean? The same as working on the doors. I've worked with some really tiny guys, nothing of them. But fuck me, can they fight? And when it's kicking off, they're there, Torchy, if you're watching this. So it's not all about, being big and butch like myself, I'm not big and butch for my ego. I'm big because I love training heavy and hard. And I was a skinny kid. So maybe there's a bit of bigorexia there. But I like bigorexia because I'm not doing drugs. I'm training naturally, training hard, sticking to my Chek principles, going to bed at, 10:30, 11, but mainly 10:30, eating organic food as much as possible, drinking my body weight in ounces of water, and training 4 days a week. And so ego can get you into trouble. The same as if you have a mortgage and you can't afford that mortgage, and then you can't afford to go out, you can't afford to enjoy your life because your mortgage is too high, or buying shit that you don't need. And this is, I don't know if anyone's out there and they're 50 years old. Have you realised that you've got everything you need? That's where I'm at now. I've got everything I need. I don't want a flash car. I don't want a car. I live in London. If I moved out of London, then it might be different. But I travel on the tube and I get chauffeur driven everywhere on the bus, which my mate said, which I thought was really, really funny. So being chauffeur driven around, not having to pay the ULEZ charge, not having to pay road tax, national insurance, no, insurance and all the other stuff. I think it's the best thing I've done. I do miss maybe the thrill of not driving. You know, I'm missing the thrill that I've never learned how to drive. Maybe I'll do it later on, but I think it's all ego stuff, you know, and I think a lot of people's fitness goes down because they've got a car. They drive to the shop that they could have walked to. They drive to their mates round the corner that they could have walked to, you know, or they drive too much instead of working on their cardio fitness. Does that make sense? But I know a lot of people have got big cars, and it's not because they need the big car, it's because they're in their ego too much. Does that make sense? The same as when I've got into arguments and disputes, your ego will go, I've got to do him, I'm going to do him, I'm going to do him. But he might be, you know, black belt, 10th dan in jiu-jitsu, and you just don't know. And that's something that I really learned when I was a doorman, is that you can never judge a book by its cover, ever. And you can never let your guard down. As in, you know, with friends, you let your guard down, you have a relax, you have a laugh, you have a joke. But when I was a doorman, when I was at work, I was at work. Does that make sense? I didn't really, I shagged a few birds, but I didn't really chat. I wasn't at work to chat birds up. I was there to protect the customers and to protect my team that I was working with at that time. And that taught me, you know, to be really loyal. So the friends that I've got now, I've been friends with 25, 30, 35, 40 years, you know. And that's because they know I'm loyal, I'm honest, brutally honest sometimes, which some people don't like. But that's just me. And I think with myself, I prefer people to be like that. So I remember one time, this is funny but not funny. You know when sometimes you get a loose grommet coming out your nose? And I was walking around and nobody said anything to me until my mate come round. And he went, Scott, you got a fucking booger hanging out. And I'm like, fucking hell, it shows how shallow people are, or how much they just won't say what they feel or what they think anymore. Or they'll just think it but not say it. Does that make sense? Whereas with me, if you're doing something to me and I don't like it, I will tell you, don't do that. I don't like that. Stop it. You know? Whereas other people will not do that. They'll just to somebody else instead of saying it to your face, you know? So don't let your ego get you into trouble by having a mortgage that's too big, having a car that's too big, and buying things you don't really necessarily need. So that's what I always ask myself now. If there's something I want to buy, do I really need it? Am I really going to use it? I've got no credit card. I've got no hire purchase, nothing like that. Everything I pay for, like I learnt from my mate Rob and my mate Kevin, if you can't afford it, you can't have it. It's as simple as that. Because if you start living on credit cards, before you know it, you've got a huge amount of debt. And if you lose your job or your self-employed business goes down the pan, you've still got to pay all these debts. And it's a huge amount of stress. And I went through that stress in 2008 when the first credit crunch happened and all these companies were closing and everywhere was going bust, and it was really, really bad. I probably had 25k worth of debt. And the letters were coming through the door, more letters were coming through the door, bailiffs threatening me and all this nonsense. But I managed to find a way out of it as I found a company that helps you consolidate all your debts. You send all the letters out to the debtors, the people you owe debt to, offer them £1 a month. 10 debts, that's £10 a month. Anyone can afford that. And they keep that going for a year and then they reevaluate it. But lucky enough, my bank did something wrong and they give me 10 or 15, it was 15 grand. So I was only 5 grand in debt. And then when work picked up again, I paid it all off. So I was completely clear again. Do you understand what I mean? And so ego can get you into trouble. It can get you into fights. It can get you to lift more weight than what you should lift. It can make you misinterpretate stuff. Like I've had clients say stuff to me and it's really rolled me up. But they were just asking a genuine question. It wasn't them having a pop at me. Does that make sense? And this is where big ego can really get you into trouble. So really watch your ego. Keep it quiet as much as you can. Like I've had people say to me, oh, I've earned this amount of money. I don't care. I've had people say to me, what else have I had? Yeah, some people will talk about they'll be talking with ego all the time. You know what I mean? I'm the best at this. I'm the best at that. I've done this. I've done that. And unless it's something that I need to know, it sort of like washes over the top, washes over my bald head and doesn't go in there. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love it when I hear people have made huge success and done amazing things. That's really, really great. And it's good to hear. But you soon know when somebody's a narcissist is when they go on and on and on about it and they're not willing to congratulate you or tell you how well you're doing. Does that make sense? So all of my friends, none of them are like that. None of them are narcissists. None of them are in their egos, really. They seem to just be, my friends now are very genuine, down-to-earth, honest people. Most of my good friends are absolute nutters that I've worked with either on the doors or they're jiu-jitsu black belts, Robin. And I highly respect that. If somebody has done a martial art and got to a high level at it and a very high standard, and even if they've stopped, I still give them huge respect because I know to do that takes, longevity. No, takes commitment. Same as me becoming a Chek Master level 5. That took real commitment and hard work. But I've reaped the benefits so many times. It's unbelievable. So I am really, really grateful for having that opportunity of that trainer at Fitness First at Embankment, if you're watching this, that said to me, Scott, you should look at this Paul Chek guy. He's a bit of a Fruit Loop, but you will really love it and it will make you're a good trainer, but it will make you even better. And it certainly did. And when this is my ego again, when I do see new clients that have worked with a trainer before, they're so wowed by how I work with them, what I do differently, and how much love and compassion I give my clients. When I'm training my clients, my phone is never on. It's off. They have paid for my skill, my expertise, and my time. And I see this in the gym all the time with new trainers coming up. They may be looking at their client's program, but why haven't you got that in your head? Why don't you know what your client needs in your head, or why haven't you got it on paper? And when I train my clients, if their phone's on, they know they need to put it on silent because it's our time. They're paying for my time, and I want them to learn as much stuff as they can, because what I do is deeper than anybody else out there, as in from the Chek principle. It's very, very deep. And if a client's like all over the place looking at their phone, it's different if it's a business call and they say, Scott, it's really, really urgent. Then I let it go because I wouldn't, if a family member of mine had an accident or something and they called me, I would want to get on the phone, but my phone is always on silent, so I wouldn't know. Does that make sense? And obviously, as soon as the session's done, I check my phone just to see if any clients are cancelled or anything untoward has happened that I need to check, And the same with, buying new equipment. Like I see these new electronic body fat calipers, 250 quid. Will I use them often enough to warrant paying for them, or is it just my ego going, it's a new toy, Scott, it's a new toy, Scott, you've got to buy it, it's a new toy. To see my point, how the ego can control you. So when the ego comes up, I try and listen to it. Or I've got friends that go, Scott, don't do that. It's just you like losing it, or listening to your ego too much, or that'll be really bad for your business, so don't do it. And this is what good friendship is all about. With good friendship, in my opinion, you can say anything to your mates and there should never be a problem. Anything. But if they do say something to you that offends you or upsets you, obviously you need to say, look, what'd you say that for, you twat? That's quite not a nice thing to say. But if you're on a good level with your friends, you can virtually say anything without any worry. But obviously you've got to be courteous as well and not say stuff that highly offends them, you know. Sometimes I say stuff without even realising and get pulled up on it, and I go, I'm sorry. And never be... My dad has always said never say sorry, but I believe saying sorry shows that you're more on a more higher level of maybe spiritualness or maybe intelligence, because you're not staying trapped in the problem. Does that make sense? So the ego will get you into trouble in the gym, with your girlfriend, in the shop. You know, you go shopping, you see them shoes, and like I just spent £125 on a pair of shoes, walking like barefoot shoes, but they're brilliant for my spine, so I can justify that. Does that make sense? But really, should I spend 125? Could I have got cheaper ones? Yeah, I tried the cheaper ones, but they're not as good. So I went for the expensive ones. The same with, do I eat in Greg's or do I eat in Pret a Manger? Or do I bring my own food? Normally it's bring my own food. But if I'm really, really busy, sometimes you've got to go and eat something than rather not eat and like fall asleep in your session with your client, you know? So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm waffling on. I'm going to keep doing regular videos. I hope you're enjoying them. Please comment down below if there's something you want me to do a video on. Somebody commented and wanted me to do one on shamanism and the tools that I use. So I did that. If there's anything else you want me to cover, like how to get out of neck pain, knee pain, or maybe you're an athlete and you want to know something specific about your sports performance, how to improve it, then please comment down below. Oh, I've now got to 2,500 videos, which has taken some work to do, but I thoroughly enjoy doing it. And the more questions I get, the more I enjoy it as well. So if you've got any questions, whether you want to be a twat or a troll, it doesn't matter. Just post the question and I'll answer it with humour or without humour, or with or without my ego. Peace out. Bye.